Hi, I'm back again. I kind of wanted to go over my doctor's visit. I went to see my doctor, and he basically was not happy with me because I didn't want to do my PET scan. I said, what? Last time I was there, he basically told me that there was no cure for my cancer, that it was stage 4, it was terminal, which they told me 2 years ago. And, that we had done all we could. I did a year of chemo. I did 4 months of radiation, and the tumors that were in my chest were eradicated. But on the last PET scan came back, I had hepatic flexure or portal something. I had a node, and I also, next to my cecum was lit up incredibly, and I had like some spots in the pleural part of my left lung. I also had something strange in my muscle on my left back scapula, which they tried to say it might be this like very rare thing called elastofibrosis, blah blah blah. Very, very rare. So chances are that it can't be that. Now, I also was taking a combination of colloidal silver, sea coral, cayenne pepper, and dandelion root oil as a alternative medicine routine. I'm trying to make my body a little more alkaline. Now, I know that medically it's impossible to make your blood alkaline because you have buffers. You have respiratory buffers, and you have renal buffers. But you can change the amount of ash your body makes, and you can become slightly more alkaline. So I was doing that. But I've been told not to take the colloidal silver until my next PET scan because, excuse me, because it might make it light up. So I agreed to go back for this PET scan 3 weeks from now, even though I said I didn't want to have any more, because the doctor said to me that possibly maybe there is something we can do. They're doing genetic testing, which I thought they did a long time ago. They tried it once and didn't have enough from their biopsy, but I had gone to Dana-Farber, and that's where they had originally told me that we could treat this, but gave me my blessings and said if it comes back, you're done for. Actually, it is March. The doctor down at Dana-Farber said I wouldn't be alive past this April. Well, April is coming up on me. Maybe that's part of the reason I'm a little depressed. I don't know. So I have agreed to go back for the PET scan in 3 weeks. I'm not really happy about it, but he kind of said to me that maybe that we could try a different type of chemo. Not the chemo I did before, because I was very, very ill. I mean, I vomited every day. I was quite severely ill. I did much better with oral chemo and the radiation. I kind of was very tired, but I made it through that. So, I'm going back for the PET scan. I really believe the doctors want to just track this, and they don't really care how I feel. It's just their curiosity. They want to know what's going on. Which is a little upsetting. So, while I was there, I have been really teary-eyed. This is very hard to deal with, being given a terminal diagnosis. So I told him I was just dragging, really tired, blah, blah, blah. My appetite's no good. I got an application for medical marijuana. I do not smoke marijuana. But somebody was talking about CBD oil, which they're using on children with a lot of neurological problems. And I do have some neurological symptoms, like neuropathy and stuff. So I figured if I got a license, then maybe I could go to one of these dispensaries and maybe they carry the oil. But I don't want to jump around here. Sorry. Let's go back to the PET scan. So I'm going to have the PET scan in 3 weeks. My question is, to myself, should I just say, do not tell me what's on that PET scan, because psychologically, what is it going to do to me? From going to this last visit, I mean, I have cried and cried and cried. I'm much better now. I'm going to stop crying. You know, when you're given a terminal diagnosis, I guess it's kind of like dying. You go through the grieving process. First you're sad, then you're angry, you know, and I think I'm in the very, very sad phase of it, because as if you've watched my first video, I was saying I don't want to die. I don't want my animals. I worry about them, my 2 dogs, my 2 cats. I mean, it's a heavy burden to carry. And my house, which I absolutely love and I've been diligently working away on, my family room's done, my bedroom's almost done. I do have some problems with my master bath, which I don't know what's going to happen with that right now, but you know, it's one of my dreams that I feel I want to accomplish, is to get my house. You know, if I had $10,000, it would all be done, but I don't have $10,000, so. And it's been an incredible journey for me. I've learned how to do a lot of things because I've had nobody here to do it. The one thing I must say, that a lot of people jump ship when they find out you're that sick. They run. They're not here. I am pretty lonely. I spend a lot of time alone. Sorry, I'll be right back. I spend an awful lot of time alone. So I have my thoughts to myself, which is probably makes you your own worst enemy. You know, and I've had, as I've said in a couple other videos, life has not been easy for me, but I have managed to scale the wall. I have, you know, went back to college, got myself a very good education, became a very, very good registered nurse, and I know that my hand touched and helped a lot of people. Now, is this kind of serendipitous of things to come? You know, maybe that was a lesson for me on how to cope and deal with my final days. Now, I watched 60 Minutes, and they had a piece on Oregon and dying with dignity. And this whole idea of not, you know, letting a patient take 100 pills and kill themselves, which there is no nurse, no doctors involved. It's really not been tracked. So out in Oregon, they're doing something called palliative medicated coma. So when symptoms become too much and you can't handle them, they will put you in an induced medical coma. It doesn't kill you. You continue on, but you're in a coma. So, I mean, I pray to God that my end is swift and there's not a lot of suffering, that I just, like, throw a massive blood clot and die immediately, or have a massive heart attack because of the strain on my body. I don't know. I really don't want to go through the suffering. Am I afraid to die? No. That I'm not. What I'm afraid of is missing everybody. You know, but that everybody is slowly becoming only a handful of people at this point. I worry about my animals. You know, they're very, very important to me. They have been, I've always had pets. My 2 dogs now are 14, both of them, 6 months apart. And I have 2 kittens that I rescued when I moved into this house. They were starving and, you know, on death's door, literally. And I brought them in, and they have been joys to me. But I very much worry about what will happen to them. And then I worry about my house. I kind of look at my house as my greatest accomplishment. I owned houses when I was married, but they were our houses. And in the process of buying them, my opinion was secondary, not first. When I bought this house, this is what I wanted. It's what I saw as my dream. Needless to say, underneath the dream, being an old home, there are a lot of problems, but I'm slowly working through those. So my biggest goal right now is to get this house to a point where it's organized and put together. I have a formal living room that is like now a junk room full of all the stuff to fix the rest of the house. No couch, no chairs, no nothing. And the master bedroom upstairs, I have 2 masters, one down, one up. And the one downstairs pretty much complete except for the bathroom. And the one upstairs is in the process of being painted, and the bathroom has to be put back together. Once I have that done, my upstairs will pretty much be done. I have a very ugly second bathroom up there that needs a paint job and fixing up, but we'll take that as it comes. And then my big thing is to get the family room done and put some nice furniture in there so it's beautiful. The master bedroom upstairs and the formal living room downstairs both have beautiful fireplaces. The family room, which is complete, which is beautiful, also has fireplace, but it has a gas insert, which is quite nice. So, I mean, these are the things that I'm trying to think about now, trying to get these things done. I have noticed that my energy level has really sapped, which brings me back to the antidepressants. This is what the doctor said. You know, antidepressants, I don't know how I feel about them. It is a first line of treatment for many ailments. And when I first got sick, or started feeling sick 4 years ago, instead of listening to me, they kept saying, oh, you're depressed, you need to go on antidepressants, blah, 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 blah. Instead of, like, listening to the patient, when I was saying, I feel really big changes. Something is really, really wrong with me. It's horrible what the medical system has done to me. It's horrible what Dartmouth has done to me. They pretty much ignored me. And then, you know, when I was first diagnosed with this, when I went to see the oncologist, the first thing they said was palliative care. They weren't even going to treat me. And then their second option was to treat me for lung cancer, which I don't have. So it's been really, really crazy. There's just so many things that you got to think about when you're in this position. And I know there's other people out here going through the same thing. And I hope they have a good support system in place, because that is very important. I have somewhat of a support system. I wouldn't call it the greatest. I have a good friend who comes over, but she's got a life. I have a sister who works. She's got a life, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of people are really in denial about this, about my terminal cancer and my death. And either don't want to speak about it or brush me off when I try to have intelligent conversations about how I feel, you know, about the important things in life, you know, like a bucket list. Is my bucket list really exotic? No, not at all. I mean, there are things I wish I could have done, and I should have done them when I was younger, like go to England and see my relatives. Things that are on my short bucket list are, I'd love to see a Red Sox game. I would love to see the Dave Matthews Band. I just love him. I love his music. And I want to go up to Maine or New Hampshire or to the Cape and go by the ocean, because the ocean's always been very soothing to me. When I was young, I grew up down on the Cape from age 2 to 5, I believe. And I always loved the ocean, you know. Well, since I saw in Jaws, I don't have the same feeling about the ocean, but I still really like the ocean. So there are some of the things that I want to do. I guess I sound like an everyday person, right? I do. And I just wonder, how do you do? I'm trying to deal with this as best I can, and I'm not sure how it goes. And I wonder if the rest of you out there feel the same way. How does this go? And I think the questions that we seek answers to are, am I going to suffer? Is it going to be painful? Am I going to be in a lot of pain? Am I going to become bedridden? I'm not too big on the whole hospice idea. I would like not to have hospice involved in my death, because I feel that becomes very clinical. Maybe that's my experience as a nurse, saying, you know, I don't want it to be clinical. I want it to be natural as possible. And I just, at this point, don't know where that's at. I mean, you know, my doctor said to me the other day when he handed me the script for antidepressants, you don't look like a person dying of cancer. Well, that's great. I wish that was the truth. He's the one that told me I'm dying of cancer, right? And I have to say, my appetite is horrible. I have loved food. I have been a connoisseur of food. I love French cuisine. I love to go eat good food. And I have lost my desire for food. Now, I would never be a person to turn down a nice lobster, but I haven't even had the desire to have lobster. I went with a friend and had a lobster roll, and I took 2 bites, and I didn't want to finish it. And she told me, well, at least eat the lobster out of it if you can't eat the rest of it. So that, you know, that's kind of depressing, because the one thing that I loved and actually was kind of my drug of choice was food when I was unhappy. Not that I'm giantly obese, I'm not. But, you know, what do they call it? Comfort foods, memory foods of growing up, you know, things like that. That was always really important to me. And now I struggle every day. If you look in my fridge right now, there's half and half for coffee. There's a thing of milk so I can eat cereal. And besides that, I have 2 racks of lamb in the freezer because I bought them one first and I was going to cook it. And I just said, I better put it in the freezer or it's going to go bad. And same with the second one. Well, the first one's frozen. I feel like lamb. Let me go buy another rack of lamb, which I did. And by the time I got home, I was out of energy and I didn't feel like cooking it. So that went in the freezer. You know, so these are the little things. So you open my fridge and you find milk, half and half, iced tea, because I like iced tea. And that's about the extent of what sits in my refrigerator. There is some cheese, but I'm off of cheese as well. So, I guess I've been on doing this for 17 minutes now. I don't know if I've made any substantial points here, but it's just kind of a daily, what do they call it, vlog, V for video blog, or I just think it's important to document this, and maybe somewhere down the road I can help somebody else. And maybe they'll watch this video and they'll see something in it that will help them with their battle or their struggle. And the one thing I do want to say here and now is if you don't feel good and you know your body, do not let them talk you into saying there's nothing wrong. Don't let them say, oh, you're depressed. Oh, there's nothing wrong. I mean, I knew there were big problems. And I kept telling them that, and they labeled me as hysterical, histrionic, what was the other one? Over-exaggerative, what was the word? I catastrophize everything, you know, make everything a big deal. No, and then I threw blood clots. They started, 3 years ago, out of the blue. I was like feeling all wiggly wobbly, weird, and went to the doctors, and they did a pulse ox of me walking, and I was under 80, like pulse oxing in the 70s. No wonder I felt weird and acted weird. They put me in the hospital because they discovered that I had a totally occluded IJ, a jugular vein, and a brachiocephalic totally clogged. I mean, there were like 3 massive blood clots. And they didn't even follow protocol then. I was in the hospital for 3 days on a drip, and they sent me home on Coumadin. Well, a year to the day, the following year in May, I had a similar situation. This time, they put me on oxygen, and we did a scope to look at my lungs, and the doctor that did it said there was a lot of thrombosis. Now, what is thrombosis? I think same thing as a blood clot. But they did not want to say they were blood clots because I'm on Coumadin. Oh, that means you fail on Coumadin. We have to put you on something different. And it's expensive. So let's say you don't have blood clots. And it was at that point I knew I had those little nodules in my chest here. And I demanded a biopsy. And when I got the biopsy, it was like poorly differentiated carcinoma of unknown origin, because that was a metastasis. Nobody's ever found a primary tumor. Now, it's funny when they do a PET scan, they do it from your nose down to your knees. So, if you have cancer in the brain, I guess they're not going to find it. And if you have cancer below the knees, they're not going to find it. It's very weird. As a medical professional, I don't understand that. So, this primary of unknown origin, it's kind of a mystery to me, because for 4 years now, I've had gut problems. I mean, I have tons and tons of records of them looking, and there was they did document that I had a thickening of the pleuric valve, but it wasn't cancerous, so they say. I also had an enlarged thymus, which one hospital said it was cancer, and one said it wasn't. So who knows what this really is? You know, would I be in this situation if I had better medical care? I wonder today. I really wonder. But regardless of that, here I am, and here is now, and now I must deal with what comes my way. So, that's what I'm going to do. So, I don't know if this video is going to help anybody, but it kind of gives me an outlet to voice how I feel, and maybe makes me feel better. And I hope that somebody else, if they watch this, feels a little better too. I'm sure there are people out there laughing at it, saying, look at this freaking freak. But, you know, I don't know what else to do. I don't know how to make a difference at this point. I don't have the energy, I don't have the strength, so I guess this is kind of my way of trying to give to somebody else, that they may look at this video and have all these thoughts that I do, and it may be comforting to them. I know if I could find a good video and somebody was talking about all this stuff, I would probably really like it. I haven't found much, so that's part of the reason I'm making these. So, I guess at this point, I'm going to sign off for today. Today is, I believe, the 14th of March, 2016. I told you, my doctor in Boston said that I would not be alive past April of 2016. So we'll see how it goes. I will do another video tomorrow. I will post this, and I hope somebody's reading it. You know, it's a big, big world out there, and a lot of videos. And I guess if somebody kind of doesn't look specifically for death and dying, terminal cancer, you may not find this video, but at least I've documented some things, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. I hope everybody out there has a good day, and I hope your fight goes on, and never, never give up. Regardless, just keep going. Don't let them put you in the grave. You just keep fighting, and you keep going until you can't go anymore. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So, arrivederci. I will talk to you mañana. Bye-bye.